Hey, it's Amanda. Welcome back. Today is the 9th and also day 9 of the 25 days of December collaboration that I'm doing with Simone, Ellie, Dakshina, and John. And I'm honestly pre-recording this. So if we come up with a catchier name or a name other than what I just said, I do apologize. I'm going to link all of their channels below. We're all working together this month, and I highly recommend all of their channels. So check out them in the description box below. Today we are kind of talking about YouTube and why we're on YouTube. To begin with, our first video on YouTube, which is why I have my Foxy Fix Boss Babe Madison Avenue in a number 6. It's been through a lot and I still love it. I will probably never part with this one. It's a compact. And it was I would consider like the second kind of permanent planner I bought, and by that I mean like an actual leather cover. So what started my whole YouTube thing was watching YouTube in 2014. I was pregnant and I was like, I am going to buy myself a nice permanent, like a Filofax planner if I give birth without drugs. So that's not always, that was the plan. That's not always how labor and delivery works. Sometimes drugs are necessary and there's no criticism or judgment or anything like that. Here, that is just a goal, that I set for myself. I was like, well, the money I'll save by not having an anesthesiologist or an epidural, I'm gonna spend on myself to get a planner. So that was just what I used to kind of motivate myself. I did. I did have just a spontaneous delivery and didn't have any drugs, and yeah, that's a whole other story. Sorry. So I was on YouTube. I found out that there were people on YouTube like Rachel Dunaway, for example, who you should Google right now and watch her videos. But, she was on YouTube and I was like, well, that kind of looks like fun. Maybe I could do that like at home while the kids are asleep. I like talking. This branches out into that, and maybe I could find some friends and some people who I could talk to about, because I didn't really have anybody in my friendship circle that was interested in that. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll make a YouTube channel. Maybe I'll make some money. And I was like, oh, I should get on Instagram so that I can like funnel traffic to my YouTube, because I didn't think that you could just have a YouTube video and get any viewers. I thought that you had to have some sort of like blog or an Instagram or something. You don't. If you want to YouTube, just YouTube. Just do it. Do it with what you have on hand. I still use like a super cheap tripod. I just purchased lights for like 20 bucks, and I try to use daylight when I can. Just start, that's my advice if you're curious. I don't think I'm in a good position to give YouTube advice, but I'm happy to talk about it. So as I said, my first video, it was in December of 2016, and I used my Filofax personal rings for about a year, I think, 2 years, 2015 and then 2016. And in the fall of 16, I was like, I don't like the rings. I don't like how they open and close and make that noise, and I don't like hitting them with my hand. And Traveler's Notebooks and Foxy Fix are really starting to be more popular at that time, and more information was out there. They were more accessible. So I purchased this one in number 2, and then I just started YouTube. I didn't even have a tripod. I was like, I'm just gonna talk about these and this leather and blah, blah, blah. And it was like in my basement with a lamp. It's not pretty, but it still exists. It's out there. So, but it got me started, and I think that's the most important part. Even today, you just have to hit record. You just have to start. Let's see, the next question that we're talking about today, talking about my first video. I'm going to talk about my most watched video and why, and kind of my reaction to it now. So I don't have a lot of my like goodies or reference material that I could show you right now. So I'm sorry that you're looking at my hands a lot. I hope you're folding clothes or drinking tea, or, I get really distracted watching YouTube sometimes. So I totally understand. Let me find my getting things done. So my 2 most watched videos are like why I'm in a standard size and my planner journey. That has over 40,000 views, and I'm still to this day surprised, because when I recorded that, it was kind of just on a whim. A lot of people were asking me why I was in a standard size, and the best way for me to explain that was like, look, I tried all these other planners and I made this change and this change and this change, and I explained why, and it's how I ended up using a standard size notebook. I started using a standard size in fall of 2016, and here we are in the fall of 2020, and I'm still using it. So for me, it was kind of trial and error, and I'm not in the planner community. I'm not really here to like create a collection. I don't change my planner with the season or things like that. It's not for me, but some people really enjoy doing that. I lost my train of thought. Sorry guys. Life is just right now. So I still don't know why that's my most watched, but I think people are kind of interested in like the meta analysis of maybe why I'm in this size for so long, because it's kind of weird. A lot of people change sizes a lot, and that's okay. The second most watched video is my getting things done. So I'm going to talk about that. That's why I have this open. And I can't talk about getting things done without saying Brandy Michelle Plans on YouTube. You should definitely go check her out, because without Brandy, I don't think I would have ever came across getting things done. I don't think I ever would have understood it. I don't think I ever would have picked up the book. So Brandy Michelle has a really great series of videos that talks about the getting things done method, and I think it's really great. It's kind of overwhelming at first, just the system, not Brandy at all. Brandy does an excellent job, but the system has a lot of components. But once you familiarize yourself with the system, you can start tweaking it to work for you, and I think that's kind of the point that I'm at. But it's just fully integrated with my bullet journal now, and I don't even really think about it. So that video on YouTube, I'll link here, but it's like over 40,000 as well. Not much has changed since I recorded that video in terms of how I use getting things done. So I will kind of briefly talk about my action categories, which, again, kind of a derivative of getting things done. I keep my like to-do list, like my running to-do list of things that I need to do is on my daily pages. So these are just like bullet journal. So if I have something that can wait a week or needs to be done at a certain place or at a certain time or with a certain person, then I will add it to what's called these action categories. So let me make sure I don't have anything private here. Like this one has to do with my kids. So either something I need to do with my kids, I need to measure my kids, or sometimes I even just put their sizes back here for reference. Because I'll use this notebook, this 160 pages of Tamale River paper is my bullet journal, and then it's also these action categories from getting things done at the back. That'll last me like 3 or 4 months. So I've got waiting on, which I haven't been using lately. Let's start at the beginning. I apologize. So this is my project list. So once a week I review my projects and my action categories as part of my weekly review, which is totally part of getting things done and very important that you do a scheduled review. So these are my action categories now that we're going to get into. I have one for things I need to talk about with my husband, things I need to add to my A5 notebook, things for my blog. That's stuff about my kids I'm not going to talk about right now. Nursing is my profession, stuff to do at the computer, things I'm waiting on, and things that are on my wish list. So any item that I put on here, it does not need to be done in the next day or 2 or 3, because if it did, I would put it up here. But at the end of the week, when I'm doing my weekly review, making sure I didn't forget anything, transferring tasks and things like that, I will check these lists because I have time to sit down and maybe like do all those things that I thought about doing on my blog. Add to A5 is kind of homeschool for me. So if I had some things that I wanted to do for homeschool but didn't need to get them done during the week, I'll just set aside time for myself at the weekend and do these then. Same with like at the computer. Like if I have to print some stuff, I like to batch my tasks. So it makes me more efficient because instead of like, oh, I need to go print this, and then the next day I'm going to print something else, and the next day I'm going to print something else, but none of it was like really needed at that moment. I can just sit down when I have time on Saturday, Sunday and print all of those things. So that's exactly what I have right now. And then same nursing. When I do work for either my job at the hospital, I'm an ER nurse, and then I also do medical writing and editing for publishing companies. So I don't know, when I'm with my kids during the day, like sometimes I'll get an email for a contract or something education-wise for my job, right? I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to do that right away. It doesn't need to be done in the next 2 or 3 days usually. So I can put it back here, and then on the weekend or on the next night that I'm really focused on that job, that aspect of my life, I have my list and I can be a lot more efficient about getting things done. Okay, that was really cheesy. I didn't need to do that. Forgive me. I have a whole video again on getting things done. It's still really important part of my process. And I'm so sorry. These are from Perfectionism Prints. Her name is also Amanda. She has a shop full of digitals. This is a standard size notebook, but these are printed on personal paper. These are printed on 8.5 by 11. They are personal size, and I did them at 109%. And I can clarify that in the comments. Just let me know if you have a question. But Perfectionism Prints is where you can find all of these goodies on Etsy. So I apologize if I'm talking too fast. You are welcome to adjust the playback speed if that helps, and I will try to slow down in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will be back on the 14th, maybe earlier, to kind of talk about 2020 in review and what I'm planning on for 2020.